Survivor's ready.
If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said rustle feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
We have ripe bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor, more specifically the events of this week. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. And congrats, Tony. We have once again survived a double tribal. It's been happening a lot lately, and we're doing it.
Yeah, seems more often than not it's a double tribal, but we survived.
We did. I think we're in the clear now, right? Does the math add up that we can make it without double elimination? We just single moving forward?
Well, there's 2 episodes left, right? With 7.
Is that
Do
it?
we usually go into the finale with 6?
I believe on seasons with 20 players, they do. And seasons with 18 players, they usually go 5 to the finale. So
then they also stretched it out to a 2-part finale a few years ago. Remember that? That was a big deal.
That's right. Because they had, oh my gosh, what was the logistics on that? Was it 6 people or 5 people going into it? And then so like the 1 week was part 1 of the finale, which is just a normal tribal council. And then the next,
2 eliminations.
You got to stop bringing this stuff up. I literally have like a long list of grievances against Jeff Probst right now, and you're just like bringing up old wounds that remind me how horrible of a producer this man is.
No, I think he's the best we've ever seen. But it's I love reminding you of things that make you angry. It's just a really fun game for me.
Because it's always just it mostly just comes down to semantics once again. Like it's just the way that it's presented. I don't like being manipulated into thinking that this is cool. I don't. That's what all of this is, right? It's all just manipulation. That's my biggest, if I had to like narrow it down to one thing, stop doing that.
But is there a chance it is cool and you're just too scared to admit that it's cool? Have we considered that?
Which part are we talking about? Are we talking about the 2-part finale or just in general? Like, is this a general?
In general.
No. In general, I will get, like, there are some things that I can admit if worded or packaged differently to me, maybe I'd accept. But the overarching theme of why this season has just gone off the rails and is just, like, I mean, spoilers alert, I hated this episode. I don't care what the result, like, there's no result that could have made me like what happened in this episode. And that is not something that is cool. That is not something, like, there's no way you can make this better for me. Like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm over Jeff.
See, I think there's been so much that at this point, I'm just like, whatever. There's gonna be a twist. Let's see if there's some interesting stuff within that twist. I think that's where I'm at now. Like, I understand the frustration with what happened this episode. I understand not liking that twist. A twist was going to happen, and we knew one was going to happen. And so, like, there's a part of me, I'm kind of in a spot where I'm just like, whatever. Like, that's how it's going to go sometimes. And I think we saw some people, kind of like you were talking about, in a twist, you want to see certain people have a chance to shine and certain people have a chance to flounder. Like they are in charge of their own destiny. And I think we saw that for in a couple different ways. But I'm really excited to hear why you hated it so much.
No, I will give you that. This was because here's the thing. When it first got revealed at I believe the beginning of the challenge that there was going to be a twist, I immediately just started flipping out over the fact that, is this going to be another, like, we're not going to tell you what it is till tribal? Thank God they did, and they had to. I think, like, the logistics of this twist, they had to. Otherwise, if there was an option to not do this until tribal council, I think Jeff would have taken that. I really do. I really believe if there was a way that, like, hey, could we just get them all to tribal and then split them up? Wouldn't that be, like, I think he would do that because I don't think he cares anything about these players or good gameplay or anything. But the fact, like, that wasn't an option, like, thank God, because we did see some good gameplay. I don't even know if it was like great gameplay. I think it was just like the bare minimum of like, I need to do this in order to survive.
When pressure's put on, you want to see them either make it work to their advantage or you want to see them crumble under the pressure. And I think we saw that. I don't know.
suppose
I
so.
think that's where I'm at.
No, I mean, like, I don't disagree with you. I think there are some players here that were able to utilize this for their advantage, and I think there is something from this episode that they can use on their resume and something that they can show, like, I'm a good Survivor player because of this. That being said, I think my big feeling about this twist, and that's why I said, like, the result of the twist didn't even matter to me. Like, it's not about who went home. It's not about, like, well, maybe if this person went home instead, I'd be happier. Like, no, the fact is this is another week where there's not a straightforward game of Survivor being played. And maybe I'm boring for wanting to see that. But, like, to me, this season is almost just, like, over at this point. Because, like, whoever wins this game, this is just another thing to say. It's like, well, they only won because of this twist, and this twist, and this twist, and this twist. Like, this isn't a showing of a great winner. Like, I think there's still some good players in the game, and they're doing good things. But, like, again, we're saying best case scenario, Sari wins the game. We're still going to be pointing to this. It's like, well, but what would have happened if she would have got to play Survivor and not this Jeff's funny twist game?
That is a good name for a show, Jeff's Funny Twist Game.
He would love it.
Oh, I would love it. It kind of like, yeah, because you compare it to other seasons, it's almost like not comparable by the amount of things that they had to deal with. Like Edge of Extinction, a lot of people hated that twist.
I was going to bring
Like,
this up.
It was the one thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, that matters, but that affects the way that you like rate the wins for those. Like specifically Chris's, obviously, and so that's such a big piece. Honestly, what it made me think of while you were talking is Happy Gilmore 2. That, like, I don't know if you did you watch Happy Gilmore 2?
Oh, I actually loved Happy Gilmore 2 way more than most people.
I enjoyed it. But just like that new league that they created, that's just like games and like all of this extra stuff, and it's like I just kind of want to watch regular golf, even though I'm not a big golf guy. Like, that was the heart of that movie. This feels like Happy Survivor 50.
Yeah,
nailed that. I nailed
No,
that.
I am so glad you brought up Edge of Extinction, because I was actually going to make that comparison, because I think, and we've had this discussion before, I think I rate Chris as a winner a little bit higher than most people. I think, like, you and Nick definitively had him at, like, the bottom, and I think a lot of people do, because of, like, he's the only winner that got voted out the season he won, right? Like, that's so, like, it's impossible to compare. I think, like, my defense, which, again, I'm not saying he's a great winner. I still think, like, bottom 5 probably, right? He won the game that was presented to him, which is a different game than other seasons. So it's like, did he play the best game out of everyone that season? Maybe, but he played by the rules he was given, and I think that's how I do think Survivor 50 isn't going to be that dramatic. But I do think whoever wins this, there's going to be a big asterisk as far as, like, well, they won something. Like, they won this type of game, but, like, how on earth are we going to be able to compare them just based on, like, the list of ways people win out? You know, it's going to be very hard to be like, well, yeah, but they had an easy out with Coach going in a double, right? They had an easy out with Christian writing his own name out. They had an easy out with Genevieve finding 2 idols and not being able to use them. Like, there's just a long list of these things now, and every single week we add more and more, where it's like, I have no idea how we're going to be able to compare this winner with other winners, which is such a stupid problem that, like, only we deal with. You know, most people do not care, and they just want to see Mr. Beast flip a coin. But as far as, like, watching the game of Survivor, like, this just, it feels impossible to do.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, because, and maybe it's just my bias, but if certain people win, it depends who wins. That kind of will paint how I view it, because, and maybe I just love Sari too much. If Sari wins this game, I do think that she probably benefited from the twist, but I also think that she drove the game through those twists. Like, she also survived those twists, and there's something to that. I don't know. Comparing it to Edge of Extinction is so interesting, and I think it's not so much for an Edge of Extinction, because if Devins wins Edge of Extinction, I think he's a great winner, and that's because he didn't play like 11 days of Survivor. Like that's all Chris played. I think that's my beef with that more so. If somebody just gets voted out and comes back, there's been lots of opportunities throughout the 49 seasons, probably more so before the 40s, obviously, for people to come back into the game. Like if Ozzy gets back into the game in season 23, I think he should win that, even though he didn't play the entire season. I think he strategically, like, you know what I mean? So I don't think it getting voted out, but I don't know, the context matters. And I think with certain people in this game, it feels like, oh, they just happened to stick around. And I think others, it felt like they did what they needed to do to keep themselves safe throughout all of these twists and turns. And so I don't know. I feel like that context. If Suri walks away with a win, I think she's the main example. It's going to be hard for me to not say like, oh, Suri is a deserving winner, or like, I don't think I'm going to put her at the bottom of my top 50 winners or whatever. I just don't think I'd be able to bring myself to do it. And like I said, that could be my bias, but I think that's the frame of reference that I'm looking at right now. Now, if Joe wins, boy, worst season ever, doesn't count. Like I understand. I'm like that's definitely where I'm at, but that's just how I see it. I think. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
no,
If Suri wins this, where would you be
I
able to put it
don't.
low because of that?
No, and I don't disagree with you. And I'm not saying like whoever wins this will be at the bottom. I just think for the sake of like how does this rank against them as a player, it's going to be hard to judge because there are certainly, again,
Okay.
I think Suri might be the exception. Like I'm trying to think, like I mean Devins is doing some moves. I think like I really do think we're gearing up for an Aubrey win, so like we'll have to
Mm-hmm.
find things about her game that like we praise. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more just like what could have been in the sense of like we have Suri playing season 50 and she's playing it pretty much week to week because she doesn't have a choice. She's
Mm-hmm.
playing on defense almost every week, not because she has to, not because she is a target necessarily. Now this week she was, but like she's doing it because of these twists. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I would love to say she's like deserves a spot on the Mount Rushmore if she wins the season, but that's going to be very hard to discuss because we're not seeing like a full out Survivor game.
Yeah.
And I think this is just in my own personal like obsession with the show and like strategy and like there's a type of game that I obviously like to see and respect a lot more. And so like if you were presenting this show and this was season 1, I probably wouldn't have a huge issue with it because like
Mm-hmm.
this is but like the fact that I know how Survivor can be played and the fact that I've seen these players play before, like I know what they're capable of. So like it
Mm-hmm.
makes me really frustrated to see Christian not be able to play because he has to write his name down. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
like those are the things. And
That's
I
the
think
one that
it's
I will never be able to find justification for. I think that like
sure.
the volume of twists, like if we just had one week where it was a duos twist and that's the only twist in the merge,
Yeah.
do I love it? Not necessarily, but whatever. That's the one that's like that twist I think stunk no matter what. If it was
Hmm.
the only one and somebody had to do that, that stinks.
Yeah.
All the other ones, like, yeah, it's just the volume of having it week to week, I will say.
Yeah, and I think it's just like it's especially disappointing because this is supposed to be like the big season. Like we're bringing back people from season 1, season 2. Like this is supposed to be, and you know we've had our issues since episode 1 of like some people on the cast where it's like why did they get a slot and not other people. But like for the most part, this should be a very entertaining cast. Like Jeff Probst himself brags about how they have the best casting department ever. But
Hmm.
yet we're not allowing them to provide entertainment. And in fact, I would say some of the best moments of the season don't involve a twist at all. And it's just like when
Hmm.
Devin's just to go off, he gets to go off at Tribal and blow up people's games. And like that stuff is
Hmm.
exciting. It's like, like when Charlie gets blindsided because, Rizzo figured it out and the girls like flipped on him. It's like all this stuff, it's like these are the moments. And it's like, I wish that they had more faith that these are some of the best entertaining Survivor players and they will provide a good show. And it
Hmm.
feels like the producers, it's not that they don't trust them, but like they want to make sure that it's going to be suspenseful and dramatic. And so like that's why they add this stuff. And I don't know, I'm like I have trust that like if we were just let these people on an island with no twists, like sure, like idols and like I'm not saying zero twists whatsoever, but just like let them play Survivor. I think it would be entertaining.
Mm-hmm. I think the unfortunate thing is, and I don't know, are you a person that you don't buy that the voting was legitimate at the beginning of the season?
I
Because
think
the
it
voting,
was
people voted for
legitimate.
twists, and so there's a part of me that's like, whatever, like yeah, there's probably way too much regardless, but the vote was I love twists, bring them on. Like I'm looking at the votes right now. Does that make it okay? No, but in theory, they did give fans the choice, and they chose this, and it stinks, and it's too much. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, that's how it goes.
But
What were
I
they going to do?
also I
Not do
think
twists after that was
I
voted for?
well I don't think I question the voting. I think I question like that's way too broad of a question, like yes or
Okay.
no. Because like, what does no twist mean? Does that mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I know there was an idols question, so like obviously
Mm-hmm.
idols was separate from this, but like, does that mean no tribe swap? Does that mean no like? Do we just go back to season one? And so like, if you were to ask me just a black and white yes or no, I would say yes to twists. I wouldn't agree to new twists. I wouldn't agree to twists every week. And I think that's the difference is like the fans, I think if they were aware of what they were actually saying yes to, I think they would have voted a little bit different. But I think Survivor intentionally, like it's worded in a way where of course most people are going to say yes, but now this gives them the freedom to do whatever they want, which they might have done it either way.
Mm-hmm. Looking at it, they could vote for advantages, tribe switch, um, twists, and idols were all separate questions, but they were like once a month they would ask these questions, and so you didn't know when you voted on advantages, you didn't know if they were going to ask about other things, and then when you voted on twists, you didn't know they were going to ask about idols the next month. So it was a little unclear. Yeah, it's one of those things though that like that's what people voted for, and so I see what they're doing, but I don't have to like it. It's just worth noting.
Yeah, no,
Well,
that's fair.
we got deep into that, and people are probably sick of hearing us complain about that. So let's get into let's get into the game and
Oh,
the
let's
the
get
stuff that
into it.
happened, huh?
Yeah, because stuff did
So
happen.
I will say to kind of continue on this twist specifically, not the whole thing. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting. I don't love the immunity challenge that they paired it with because that feels like an immunity challenge that is geared for a certain type of challenge person. It didn't feel, it feels like a lot of power to just leave to like, oh, who can balance the longest, especially when like five people fell off at once. Like it just, that was a little bit annoying, but like I said, I like it. I think I maybe wish it would have been determined differently. I'm not even mad with the outcome, like Jonathan winning, that whatever. Like I'm not upset about that. But I think it's interesting to split them at this point and have one person who's bouncing between and the two groups can't talk. Like I don't know. I think it did give some interesting moments and some interesting strategy that they're trying to piece together.
I think yeah, I don't know. It's fine. I mean, like, I wish there was a way to incorporate this type of strategy in at a moment that wasn't so consequential, especially like towards like this end game, because it's just like to me, this just prevents players from being able to plan ahead. And I think that's been, I'm not trying to get big picture again, but like that's kind of been like my issue too with a lot of these twists is where the fact that you don't know if next week's going to be a straightforward tribal or not, that's going to prevent how you play this week.
Yeah.
And so while it does like the twist of like Jonathan going back and forth, like yes, that's like cool, and I think like Sri was trying some stuff that like some worked, some didn't, but to me, I'm like it's hard to look at this as full strategy because it feels like a lot of players just voted in some safe ways, some not safe ways because of what they had, where it's like Devins and Emily, like they try to move, right? And I respect the attempt they pulled. Like they were very close to pulling it off on like getting Suri out. Like was Suri actually going to be the target for them this week, or was it just based on this small tribal and it was like now's our chance? I think like that's the question that this twist kind of can't answer, and so.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like to me, I think like Rizzo said it good, where it's like we now have like two final fives, in this season of Survivor, and like this is going to be
Yeah.
the first one that we got. It was like, is the final 5 like an exciting vote? I don't know. Like, what? I don't really know why the final 9 isn't as exciting as a final 5.
Yeah. Yeah, because it takes away we no chance of a 4-3-2, which breaks my heart because it's my favorite vote. I do think a 5 is interesting because ultimately you have to sway one person, and I think there's something to that where that's one of the more fun, like numbers wise. What are you gonna do here? Um, and so I think there's something to that. But yeah, it does. To some extent, I think these were people that people were focused on anyways. They've been saying Ozzy for a while, so that wasn't surprising. And Emily going wasn't like a surprise, but I see what you're saying. Were they pushed into taking that Suri shot earlier than they would have liked? Probably. Um, yeah, I don't know. I see what you're saying, but I like it. I liked it. I think
Here's the other situation that could have made this disastrous. There was an option here that Suri could have been put on a tribe with Ozzy, Rizzo, and Devins, who all have vitals, Jonathan with immunity, and she could have been just advantaged out again. That, like, when I
Yeah.
first heard about the split,
Yeah.
I literally thought that's what was going to happen because we've talked about this all season, that Suri's going to get screwed, and I said, this is how. Luckily, that didn't happen, and she's still in the game, but we weren't that far off.
Yeah. I almost wish that like they had two. They like divided up. Sorry, we'll talk about stop talking about the twist after this. I almost wish that they had divided up the groups into 2 groups and one person that's in the middle before the challenge, and that one person in the middle is then determined to like have their vote, or they have to like complete a different challenge to earn a vote at both tribals. I don't know, something like that where. No, that would be too much immunity. No,
Can I suggest something that I've said before, and I don't understand why we avoided so much?
Just straight up
Why?
Survivor?
Well, that too. I actually really enjoyed when Big Brother does the split house when they
Yeah.
pick who's going to be on what side. Now, when Jeff's first started
Oh yeah.
talking to Jonathan after winning immunity, I thought that might have been the direction he was going, where Jonathan could decide who's on what tribe or what team. But even just like a schoolyard pick, like if you're one of the last survivors, then you get to be captain. You get to pick who you want. Because I thought the random draw still bugs me too, because it is just like obviously Ozzy did not have a strong tribal council. I'm willing to accept he went home on his own mistake, However, like just one simple like swapping of people, one different rock draw, he's still in the game. So that's kind of hard to accept that like it is just random, where if there was some strategy involved in like letting the players decide who's on their own team for tribal council, I'd be more accepting because this is a decision they made and now they have to strategize according to that decision.
Yeah, I think there is an element of like sometimes you just get screwed by a swap. Sometimes you get screwed by a random swap, and that happens. Now, there's an argument that there's too much of this randomness, and I can hear that for sure. But I think like looking at this in a vacuum, it being a rock draw, sometimes that's how it goes. Like I would say there were a couple people where it's like, ooh, like Aubrey, like that's a tough draw for her. And still they were able, and I don't think it was just her that made this decision to flip it, but they were able to redirect to somebody, you know what I mean? And like even looking at it, didn't the Suri, Tiffany, Devon's, Emily side, like I looked at that side and I was like, I don't think I know who's gonna go there. Like I don't think I know where this is gonna land. And I think that was interesting as well, where I don't know. I think that chance is valuable. I don't think everything needs to be strategic because I think the chance is what makes you have to figure it out to an extent. But I guess having them choose could also make them have to figure it out. Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I see what you're saying. That's my mantra tonight.
Great. Oh, I'm glad you can find some positivity in this. All right. Which one do you want to talk about first? Which tribal excites you more?
Ooh, excites me more. Those might be two different answers.
Okay, we can talk about the one that
the
doesn't excite you.
The one that excites me more is Ozzy. The one that I want to talk about first is Emily.
All right, let's talk about Emily's tribal council. Uh, yeah, I think initially I was a little surprised that Jonathan immediately sided with Suri and Tiffany. Did that throw you off at all? I thought he would at least explore the option because he has mentioned Suri before, of like she's a like we can't, so like this felt like an easy out.
Yeah.
But people just like, I mean, him and Joe especially, but like, he just really wants Devins out. Like, Devins is just this
Yeah.
annoying person that they do not like playing the game of Survivor.
I was surprised, yeah, that he was just immediately so locked in on like this is what we need to do. It just felt, yeah, it felt like it was like, oh, all right. Like I feel like there's a bigger target here that you can worry about. Devins will probably play his idol either way, so you don't need to super worry about it. But yeah, I thought it would be more, like I said, looking at that 4, I thought it would have been more of a question. It eventually just became the question of what are they going to do with the idol. I never thought that Suri wasn't going to use her extra vote. Like I feel like that was once they mentioned that. I think I was confused who knows about her extra vote because she talked to Jonathan about it like he knew it. I feel like.
Oh,
Did
really?
you sense that or no? Maybe I misheard that.
Well, Jonathan definitely knew because Ozzy told Aubrey, and then Aubrey told Jonathan.
Oh,
So, like,
okay.
maybe that's what happened. And to be honest, when that communication started happening, I was worried that Jonathan would then go back to Devins and Emily, realizing like Ozzy just told Aubrey him and Suri are working together. That did not happen, which I'm kind of confused by. I think that was another reason where it's like, why is Jonathan not looking at Suri here? Like he's just so locked in with her for reasons that don't really make sense because up until this point they don't really have any rapport with each other.
I think maybe it's just he's so scared of the chaos that Devins represents, and so he's trying to block him off as much as he can. Because Suri, if nothing else, is predictable. Like she has a level head. She's gonna do kind of like she. I don't feel like she doesn't go wild like Devins does, and so maybe that's what it is. But yeah, well, did I guess Aubrey did tell him all of the information, right? Or did
Yeah.
she just tell Jonathan? He told me his game plan, like his end game. No, he definitely said that him and Suri were
She
locked in.
and she told him about Suri's extra vote.
Maybe it was the fact that Suri didn't try to save Ozzy.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe because
that's
like I
why
mean
he didn't
Suri
click.
did like really suggest like, oh yeah, go for Ozzy and tell Joe, which we'll get to, but like, yeah, I don't know. It just like blew my mind, and I think like that's the interesting thing about Jonathan's game right now because like there's part of me, and maybe I'm just being biased because I still don't like the guy, but there's part of me like I'm so close to like giving him credit as far as like he is making so much improvement and he is doing things that is like bettering
Mhm.
his game. And I do think he's building himself a pretty decent resume. But then there's just stuff like that where it's like you feel so close, but yet I don't know if this was the best move because like let's just run through here, okay? If Jonathan does get out Devins this episode, what does that accomplish? Because he seems like the obvious target for everyone here. Like to me, this opportunity of having this very small tribal council feels like the moment to get out Suri, who has connections with other people. If you go back to the larger tribe next week with Devins and Emily, well, then everyone's just still going to target them. So I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
if you can flesh his idol and then get Suri out, that felt like the best option. But, like, to me, getting Devins out, because now he's left, like, I think this is almost worst case scenario for him. Because, like, an Ozzy situation removed. I'm talking, like, just with this tribal count. Like, Emily, to me, is like, yeah, she's not working with you, but, like, now you're left with Devins and Suri still in the game, both people that like aren't really working with you, but yet you think you're working with Suri. So I don't know. I'm just like I really want to give him credit, but I don't know if it was like fully there.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if he genuinely. I wonder if all these people genuinely have the mentality. We can get rid of Suri anytime.
Maybe.
Like I could see Boston Rob giving him because he's type of Boston Rob giving him advice like, hey, if Suri's there, get her at 5. Like you don't have to worry about her for for like a while. And so I wonder if that's part of it. It's like she's just not a threat to win an immunity, so why worry about it? That could be a piece of it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That like I don't know. It seemed like a golden opportunity, but maybe he also thought that by getting rid of Ozzy, he was weakening her anyways, and so that's still valuable.
Could be.
Like you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like it kind of threw me off because I thought that this would have been more of an uphill battle for Suri and Tiffany, and really it
Mm-hmm.
was just a matter of like, are we gonna try to suss out where the idol's going, or should I just play it safe and do my extra vote? And obviously she did. I think that was like a very smart move.
Yep.
Um, you know, it's hard to know like, and I guess we'll never know like where because she voted both of her votes went to Emily and then
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany and Jonathan voted for Devins. I would be curious to know if she doesn't play her extra vote, would it be a 2-1 with Devins getting the majority, or would they have done it? You know what I mean? So like we'll never know like what her hunch was because they just kind of
Yeah.
played it safe. But I would be curious, like, is there a world where she could have figured out where the idol was going and then saved her extra vote? But I think her playing it now is probably the correct move.
Yeah, that's one of those where I don't think it's ever worth the risk, especially in such a small tribal. If she thinks she has Tiffany, then she can at least always tie it, and then go if she wants, she can push it to rocks, in which case she's fine. And so I think at that point you always have to play that safe. I thought Emily's play was interesting, mostly because it was such an easy sell to Devins. It was like, hey Devins, just play your idol for yourself. And he's like, okay, yeah, great idea. Let's do that. That sounds awesome. Like that's essentially what it was. It's like, I'll convince people that you're going to play it on me and you just play it for yourself. That if my ally tells me to do that, it's like, all right, all the risks on you. We'll see what happens. It was probably a very easy spot for him to be in. But I think it was her only play. Like, I think that was the only potential solution
Yeah.
for it because they didn't rarely do we get to see people react to an advantage that they didn't know was there. That was kind of a treat to see them respond like so excited thinking that they nailed it,
Yeah.
only to find out that there was a sixth vote in the urn. That was
Right.
fun. We love that but
Yeah.
yeah, there was something interesting about like she did do everything that she could. The numbers were just against her and they didn't know about an advantage, and so we got like a true blind side. Thought they had the plan nailed down. Yeah, it was interesting. It was an interesting way to go out. I don't even know what. I don't know. There's just something about it that intrigues me.
Yeah, I give her a lot of respect, and it's like I don't view this as like she went out swinging, and I think this is what I want like for most players. It seems like a lot of players would just like sit down and accept their fate, you know, but it's like she tried something that again like could have worked. Like I this is where like I want like if Sari didn't have the extra vote, I really wonder if it would have worked. And I think it's also like the genius of it too. Like you say, it makes sense on like pitching it to Devins as far as like, hey, play your
Hmm.
idol on yourself, easy, done. Um, but I think that's what could have made it work. Is why would you come up with this plan that doesn't give you the idol? And I think that's why like it could have been sold to like Suri and Tiffany, where because it'd be one thing if it's like, hey, Devins is gonna play the idol from I don't know, but like it's such a risky plan because the plan like the backup is I go home because he plays the idol for himself. But I think like I don't know if that makes sense. I just feel like that's why it worked, just because no one would think that you would suggest that. And am I making sense? I feel like I'm not wording this well. Like
Yeah, you are making sense. If I'm
okay.
being honest, I kind of spaced out. Also, looking at who has a perfect voting record at this point, and so for part of it, I was locked in on that. I'm not gonna
basically,
lie to you.
basically, yeah. No one. I like Suri and Tiffany. She's banking on them not suspecting, like, well, Emily Wood is actually trying to fight for this idol,
Hmm.
and the fact that she wasn't fighting for the idol is smart. I don't, whatever. I thought it was a good play. That's all.
I do think, yeah, I think it was a good play, and like I said, it was all you could do, because as soon as Jonathan, like you said, as soon as Jonathan came over and was like, "I want Devins or Emily," it was kind of done. Like, and that's the hard part about his position is, if it's a 2-2 split, he just kind of dictates what happens, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's a ton of power for one person to just get from an immunity challenge that like half the tribe was never going to win. I don't know.
Yeah.
I struggle with that, but we've already talked about it.
Do you struggle about the ruling at all? That Tiffany didn't win?
No, she had both feet on the. I mean, they showed the video and it looked correct to me. We can hear,
When
but I trust that they know what they're talking about.
I think so when it was happening, I did notice it. Like I noticed Tiffany's foot was
Oh,
still
did you?
on, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting that like this counts." But then I rewatch it, and I think it's a little confusing just the way he counts down because he's counting down while people are on one foot. So I think to me it's like one of those things where I almost feel like we just need a better system than Jeff just like and go. All right. And stop. All right. Like it's
Yeah.
just like kind of weird that it's left up to that cuz I don't think
Mhm.
Tiffany was cheating. I think like in my mind I was also confused on like wait, is he counting because like you're already switched over or you have to start to switch cuz like that live transition is just such a
Mhm.
weird like gray zone of like if you fall you're out but like you're allowed to do this and that. So I don't know. I think it was like more confusion than anything, and I was definitely bummed because I thought that'd be like really fun to have Tiffany win another one.
She would have been an interesting person to be going between tribes for sure. But also, it's something that like this is the first time I feel like they've ever shown anything like this happening that I can remember. Um, no, maybe they've stopped challenges and been like, no, actually, I was wrong before. But the spelling one, there was one spelling one where Jeff was like, oh, I didn't realize that you misspelt this.
Of course you
Do you
didn't.
remember that
Do you
at
think
all?
Jeff knows how to spell?
To an extent.
Cool.
Yeah, I had fun. I had fun. But yeah, so I did some research before the podcast, not
What?
just while you were talking a minute ago. But three people have a perfect voting record currently. Can you guess who they are?
Mm-hmm. Suri?
Yeah,
Rizzo?
yeah.
And is it Joe?
No,
It's not Joe.
he voted for Tiffany when D got voted out.
Aubrey?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the interesting part of it is Suri got both votes for Emily during the tied vote. And
Yeah,
so
I mean, I
I
don't know
wonder
if
if
this
that
is a
like
hot
matters
take.
towards her perfect voting record.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't care about voting records like that much. I feel like because there's so many situations where not voting for the person going out could be a strategy. I think especially like in split votes, I think we saw that when coach wanted to split the vote,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Well, I want to vote for the person leaving," and blah blah, where it's like, yeah, well, duh, but splitting the vote is smart.
Hmm.
I really think of like D when she voted against Julie, but then she told Julie to play her idol. Like I thought that was a
Hmm.
good, you know what I mean? Like she knew Julie was safe and could vote for someone, but still went through with that. So like I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I care that much about voting records.
I think it's always valuable to be like I always voted right. But like you said, if you're like I voted right except for one time, and here's the context of why I didn't vote right that time,
Yeah,
I think that's like I think it's not an end all be all, but it's always an impressive spot to be where like oh I always knew where the votes were going and I was always on the right side of the numbers.
sure. Yeah, no, that's fair. Anything else in this tribe?
No, I say we follow Jonathan on his walk across the beach to the other tribe. Half of the tribe
Great.
nailed that.
Yep. So the big story here is obviously between Aubrey and Ozzy, who's going home. And I don't know. I think the big headline is just Ozzy just went down real fast. For multiple reasons. I think obviously not playing an idol, not getting a good read on what was happening. But I would say it all started when he just starts giving his final tribal speech to Aubrey while she's still in the game.
I feel like we've seen that once before, and it was Andy, like 3 seasons ago. I feel like it has never happened another time. I feel like I don't remember ever seeing that happen in the history of Survivor until that point. And so it's just crazy to me that Ozzy made that mistake. And like to an extent, having somebody who's lobbying for you at Final Tribal is valuable, or at Ponderosa is probably valuable. But if you, the way that they edited it, it was like the first conversation he had was like, "All right, Aubrey, it's you, obviously. Here's all the sick stuff I did," and like, there's just no awareness of like Aubrey's definitely going to use that, dude, and like you just can't pass out that information.
Yeah. Also, like, would that have helped his if she was on the jury? Like the way he's talking to her, I'm like, I don't. If I was Aubrey, I would not take this as like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go lobby for you. It's like, this is annoying. I dislike you now because
Yeah,
you're doing it this way. Like, I don't know.
I think he probably knows that he has to win people because Cerie's the obvious vote. I hope he might know that. And so he has to convince them that he is consciously doing this. Like he is consciously a part of these decisions. And so
hmm
maybe that's part of it, just trying to be like, hey, I'm doing this too. See, go tell people.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like weird. It's bizarre. I do wonder though, like how much this actually affected anything, because while Aubrey does share this like with Jonathan, uh, and also Rizzo, which I think honestly it probably affected Rizzo more than anything, because like for Jonathan he was already trying to get Ozzy out, right? So like Jonathan and Aubrey trying to convince Joe is one thing, but I think Aubrey telling Rizzo was probably the biggest nail in the coffin, because this then causes Rizzo to not share with Ozzy to play his idol.
Yeah. Yeah, Rizzo is the like the big story of it because he could have saved him. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, there's a part of me that wonders if he should have. I think it's so dependent on what happens next. But I could see an argument both ways. Like, yeah, now he's if he can smooth things over with Suri, he's Suri's number one now. And there's value to that for sure. But that's a number that was clearly on your side that you just let leave and now probably will not vote for you, like is furious with you. And so that's just not a valuable thing to have somebody that's as vindictive as Ozzy is.
Yeah, yeah, I do think it's an interesting situation he's in, because there's part of me that like does like this move in the sense of Suri is probably more on. Well, because I think I look at it like Suri, you can take out whenever, just based on she's not going to win an immunity challenge, right? Like, they do not design immunity challenges anymore that favor her. It's
Hmm.
all physical. It's all like for Ozzy. So, like, now is a good time, especially if Suri isn't there to stop it. So, like, if you don't want to sit next to the end of that, like with Ozzy, this might be Rizzo's only chance. Now, I'm curious to see how he can smooth it over with Suri, and I'm wondering if he's just trusting that Suri doesn't have a choice. I also wonder if they get to tribal council, see Suri on the jury instead of Emily, does Rizzo then try to get Ozzy to play his idol, knowing
Mm.
that, like, I had that thought too, because like in my mind,
Hmm.
it makes sense to want Ozzy out, not wanting to sit with him, and I don't think Rizzo's on anyone's radar. Like I don't know if he has a winning game in him, but like to get to the end, like I don't think he's a major threat. So like I don't know if this hurts him that much more, because he does still have Suri as long as he can try to get back in her good graces.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think he deserves more credit than he's going to get. I think that it's
Yeah.
pretty clear that they don't seem too worried about him, um, which is unfortunate. But that's how it goes sometimes. Like you just don't get the respect of um, the other players. Yeah, it's so interesting. I do think I didn't even think about like I wonder how they determined what order because they had to have determined that ahead of time. But yeah, seeing Emily there, I wonder if he went in with that mentality of like, all right, depending on who's sitting there, I'm gonna do this or I'm not gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would have ingratiated Ozzy to him so much, and it's hard because I think we're both seeing the how they're presenting Aubrey. And so it's like, oh, that's a miss, not like telling him so that she gets out, taken out. You know what I mean? Like it's not that she's not doing anything, but she could have not said anything, and I still could see this going towards Ozzy. Like she definitely was a part of it. She had the conversation with Jonathan. She like spread some of that information that I think sealed the deal. But I don't know. Her game is so interesting, and in that I feel like they're trying to tell us it's better than it is, and I'm hoping I don't know what to do with it yet.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I like in my prediction, I think what's gonna happen. Like, I do not think Suri's getting to the end. If I'm being honest, I
No.
think that Aubrey probably gets to the end with. And okay, so you look at Suri. Who's the other like big target right now? Probably Devins. I don't think
Mhm.
Suri or Devins will make the final three. So
Mhm.
now you're sitting with Aubrey against any of these people. She
Mhm.
probably wins.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad game. I just think it's going to be like a win almost by default because, well, she played a better game than the two people next to her. And I think
Mhm.
like that's kind of what's going to happen. And I don't know. I think it's like very, because again, as much as like we hate to just throw into this edit idea, but like every episode we are getting a game plan of what she's going to do. And then we're only like half seeing that play out. Where
I hope they're fooling us. I really hope they're fooling us, and she's gonna be like one of the last to go. Man, do
yeah,
I want that. Just because it seems so obvious. It seems too obvious. Like the ones I feel like the times that we've seen, and not that we ever talk about edit, but the times that we've like predicted winners. Like I specifically remember, I think I mentioned Erica as a potential in season 41. And I think Gabler I mentioned like 2 episodes before the finale because I'd seen like, oh, I see breadcrumbs. In those situations, we see breadcrumbs of like, oh, they're trying to sprinkle some stuff in there so that we look at these people. This feels like it's just right in our face. And so it would be, I don't know, it would shock me. But then we've seen winners where it is right in your face the whole time. So,
yeah. I mean, I think like the biggest difference with her, it's like it's being shoved in our face, but only through the confessionals. Like that's it. Where typically you will include confessionals that coincide with what's happening in the episode, and it's not
okay.
fully matching. Where it's like
Mhm.
if you were to if you were to do this like with Tiffany, right? If Tiffany's the one saying like this is what I'm gonna do, it's time to turn it up, blah blah blah, I would believe it because Tiffany is like, in my opinion, having more strategic conversations and like
Mhm.
throwing names out and winning immunity. And it's like if I were to compare them right now, I would say Tiffany is playing a better winning game. But Tiffany's confessionals are not about her winning the game. And so like
No.
that it's the disconnect that I think really makes it feel like you're trying to get us used to this idea. I don't even know
Mhm.
if we mentioned it last week, but like Aubrey straight out shouted out Michelle last week in her
Yeah.
confessional, where it's like I learned a lot from
Mhm.
Michelle's win, and I was like, that's funny because you're kind of getting a Michelle edit right now, and people
Yeah.
might not like your win when we get to the end of it. I don't know, but
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
that's kind of funny that this is what we're being. They're planting this in our mind.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think she has done some stuff, and I think compared to a couple of these people, but like if it happened now and it was her, Jonathan, and Rizzo in the final three,
Yeah.
I don't know if she would be my vote. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I would say that she's the most deserving in that three. Like remove Devins, remove Suri. I think those are clearly like some of the front runners where they've done the flashy stuff or
Yeah.
they've just been running the show. But like I feel like next up after that is Jonathan and Rizzo, maybe Tiffany, but Rizzo's the one that comes to mind. I don't know that she has done enough to be like, oh, she definitely earns a win over them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really going to come down to whatever narrative she can pull off by explaining to the jury, like, this is my journey, this is my survivor story. Started with this, like I do think it's going to be more of a win like that, which is like not the worst thing ever. But I don't know if it's going to be a win by flashy moves. Now I think the question is, do you think this vote is a major addition to her resume? Like, can she claim? Because it's kind of funny because like when it started happening, I was like, oh, is this going to be her thing? Like, is she the one that blindsides Ozzy? But yet when we get to the end of it, it felt like a group consensus and not necessarily like her big move.
I feel like Jonathan did more of the convincing, did more of the driving, but I do think I think she was part of it. I think it would like if I had to give like ownership of this. Well, it's so complicated because then Rizzo was a big part of it because he didn't.
I was gonna
he
say
didn't tell Ozzy.
I would go Jonathan and Rizzo, her in third, and then Joe last. Like as far as credit goes.
So just swap her in with Emily. Do you think it just goes the same way? Because I think if Emily's on that tribe, she's the bottom as well, and that's probably the shot that she tries to take. Do you think it happens the same way if it's Emily
Yeah.
there?
I do. Yeah, because
me too.
Emily's been trying to target Ozzy, so she would have brought that up. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. 100%.
But that's not the way that. It's not the way that they
Yeah,
presented it. Well,
I know.
I don't know. They presented it both ways. Because there's part of me that's like, did Ozzy shoot himself? Because he shouldn't have said what he said. I think he might have been going regardless of saying that. Now that we're talking about it more,
I
he was
think.
pretty hurt.
But this is But this is what I think. I think him telling Aubrey telling Joe, or not Joe, Aubrey telling Jonathan, that didn't change anything. I think this all comes down to Rizzo finding out how sloppy Ozzy's social game is, and then deciding not to tell him to play the idol. So I think that's where it matters the most. And it's kind of funny because Rizzo didn't get this hero's edit as far as like, I got Ozzy out, which I give him almost all the credit because I mean, I want to point out too, like Sari tried to plant in Jonathan, like, oh yeah, you need to get Joe to tell Rizzo, knowing that Rizzo's working with Ozzy. No one else knew that, right? So Sari had this master plan of like, if I can get this information to Rizzo, Rizzo will tell Ozzy. Rizzo knew that. In Rizzo's confessional, he said Sari would want me to tell Ozzy, but what do I want to do? And this is where like I give Rizzo a lot of credit because he is not only recognizing how Sari is trying to manipulate him, or not even like just he's recognizing what Sari's doing and making his own decision. Now, whether or not that's a good decision, we'll see in the next few weeks. But like, he had complete ownership of what happened at Tribal Council. It really came down to Rizzo, but we're seeing it as Aubrey's thing, which is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I think that's just what it is. I don't know what to do with it. But yeah, all that to say, like, it was very interesting. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we got a lot of at least interesting moves, especially on this side. The other side, I feel like it was pretty straightforward. The decisions that they were making made sense, except for the Jonathan just being locked in on Devins and Emily. This side, there's so much that could have. This could have. Well, I guess it would have just been Aubrey or Ozzy, but it could have gone multiple ways. And seeing the decisions that everybody made was very interesting. And Joe was in on it. Joe lied. Worth noting.
Last week I said I'm starting to just warm up to the idea of like him as a ironic character that is just entertaining to see.
Yeah.
And once again, just like delivering on all fronts. Where, I mean, we got the confessional of Sari. He lives on his address is like Hypocrisy in Fiji or something like. He lives up on like Hypocrisy Hill, like so, I don't know. So like people are definitely aware of just how much of a hypocrite he is, how annoying he is, like, and that makes me happy. You know, it makes me feel like I'm not crazy because on 48 it seemed like people agreed with him. It's like, yeah, Joe, we're gonna play it this way. So I like that. They're like, Sari's just like, so like I don't look at that as a shot. I look at that as Survivor. Like. You were voting for Devins. What did you want him to do? He's like, but I don't play that way. I don't, if someone's voting for me, I don't fight back. Like, that's not cool. Why do you do that? It's just, it's so funny how annoying he is. It's so funny how annoyed everyone is. And then even like, he made Jonathan seem smart as far as like Jonathan explaining, he's like, we don't need to tell Rizzo. If it's me, you and Aubrey, we have the numbers. He's like, but Rizzo is like, no, listen to me. 3 is more than 2.
Oh, it's so good. I love it. Yeah, I feel like that has changed. And that's how it is with a lot of people. Like Coach. Coach is a funny, dumb character. Unless I'm worried he's going to win, then it changes things. But if I watch him and just enjoy him for the insanity that he brings, he's an absolute treat. It's when you're scared that these people might actually be moving the needle that it always scares me.
Yeah, I don't think Joe's moving anything at all. I just don't. I don't know why he's here. He seems to hate Survivor. He hates these people. He hates just get this man back to the firehouse. Like he's gone through enough.
Yeah. Yep. Survivor's just not for him, I don't think.
No.
And I think he probably feels that at this point.
This is really random. Of all the people left, though, obviously Rizzo is the youngest. Do you know who the second youngest is that's still out there?
I want to look at the list, but we'll see.
Well, don't.
Answer. No, I won't.
I mean, I'll just tell you.
Because I think it's Jonathan, right?
It is Jonathan. I just find that funny.
Yeah.
I don't know
like
why.
31, 32, right?
32.
I knew that because a few episodes ago I was like, oh, Jonathan's your age. That's funny.
But he's not. Didn't we go over that?
Oh, yeah, we did. But Tiffany's right there, too.
Tiffany is 34.
Closer than I would have expected.
39. Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at it now.
Great.
Yeah,
it's...
You were helping. It's not bad. That's not me.
This final... What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an interesting 7. So there's this fear online because in all the interviews that Coach has given, he has been saying this phrase, 39 over 26, meaning like he is prioritizing and protecting and like the old school players, like. And in last week's interview, Stephanie very much made it clear. It's like, yeah, 26 days is not real Survivor. Like, it was much harder back in the day, whatever. There's a pretty strong suspicion that a new school player might not win just by default because some of these players will not vote for them. I don't know if that's true. We'll see if it's true. But I do wonder, could we get a situation like that? Because I think... Like we said, of the old school players left, it's just Suri, Devins, and Aubrey. And if we're assuming like Suri and Devins don't make it to the end, which I think is there's a safe bet. Like I would take that bet, I would very much take those odds that they do not make to the end. So basically, do these new school players, will they be able to convince people like Coach, Stephanie, and Chrissy that like we deserve a win?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
Feels like they would go Jonathan before they like. I feel like the people that they played with, they would be more willing to ride with, and just based on when they played. At least I'd hope so. Now that we've seen these vote outs, did Stephanie spoil everything?
She did not. Well, kind of half.
Okay.
The interview that she gave was. She said that when she thought she said like, I heard my name coming up, it wasn't a surprise, blah blah blah, which no you didn't. I don't think that's true at all. She's like, so I warned Suri. I said, Suri, if I get voted out, it's going to be you next, and then it's going to be Ozzy. So we'll just see what happens. So when I saw this split all episode, I was waiting to see Suri go and then Ozzy go. So she was half right in saying, so like she said Suri would go and then Ozzy would go. So she did spoil Ozzy, but not Suri.
But not like that. Doesn't sound. That's probably what she told her. Like at that point, it's like, oh, that's just what she told her. She wasn't trying to spoil anything.
I don't think she did. I think Stephanie's full of it. That's my take.
Yeah. Stephanie's seems pretty interesting. You put me on to why we don't like Stephanie last week, and I'm in on that take.
Should we do a refresh of one?
No. I think.
All right, great. Yeah. As far as I only got a couple more things. Maybe this might be my last thing actually. So if you got anything, think about it. It seemed like a big goal this episode as well was to eliminate idols or flush them out. Sari brought it up because she didn't want a repeat of Game Changers. Tiffany brought it up as far as like, let's target Ozzy. They're trying to get Devins to flush his idol. Pretty successful. Devin's idol is gone. Ozzy went home with an idol, and Sari used her extra vote. So right now, the only advantage in the game is Rizzo's idol. I'm curious if this pushes his threat level up a bit with the idea like there's one idol left. Let's get it out. Or do you think the focus is just elsewhere and we're not as concerned because it's the only one left in the game.
I just don't think they're worried about him at all. I think that's honestly what it falls to, is they're just
Mm-hmm.
like, whatever, we don't need to worry about him, so who cares? I do hope I hope they hide a new one. I hope we get to see an
They
idol hunt.
better.
Like, I feel like we haven't seen a good old classic idol hunt in a while. And just seeing everybody out there looking and somebody, yeah, that would just be fun in general. But yeah, I don't think Rizzo, just don't think they care. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's kind of what it is with Jonathan too. Like, nobody seems worried about him because it's a little bit different, because Jonathan, I feel like he's just trying to outlive this reputation that he has of not being like very much of a game player, because he is playing a great game, but I just don't know if they'll respect it in the end. Or why is he not somebody that they're even trying to target? Like, that's interesting to me.
Well, I suspect that I do think that will change, especially because I think like you look at the people who went before, like they got out Chrissy and Coach, Christian's whole thing, and then they got out Stephanie, which I would argue at the time Stephanie might have been the bigger threat than Jonathan. So like I do think now having him win immunity, showing that like okay he can do it. I do think his name's gonna be thrown out there. Like I suspect that it'll probably be like Suri, Devins, and Jonathan will be the biggest targets, or like at least those are the names that are gonna be tossed around.
I think Tiffany's gonna be thrown out there as a challenge threat too.
Could be, yeah. I mean, I feel like they should. I think the only person that really is just like in the clear is probably Joe, right? Is he just a shoo-in for the end game? Why would you take him out? Why would you take Joe out? Yeah. I've been saying that since week one, but still.
Yeah, we've been wanting them to. We just don't want to deal with them anymore.
Man, to think what would have happened if they would have voted him out instead of Savannah, that could have saved this season.
At the time I didn't think that was that big. I wish I do. I wish I could go back and take it all back.
Yeah, there's a lot of redos I would have liked. Heck, even like at the time it was fun. I might be okay swapping Rizzo for Charlie. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like Charlie would be they would be more nervous about him. Like it bums me out how much they don't seem to care about Rizzo. Like I think that's where I'm at with it. It just bums me out.
Well, especially because here's the thing, okay? And then I don't want to get too deep into this, but here's the what if scenario, okay? If that happens, there is a chain reaction where Jonathan is no longer blindsided by Tiffany and Camilla, or D. Tiffany wasn't there. Camilla and D. Okay. Does he still target them? Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
But maybe he doesn't target Camilla at the next Blood Moon. Okay. Maybe he doesn't go as hard for D at the merge. I don't know. But it seems like a lot of that stems from him being blindsided. The other ripple effect here, Rizzo goes home with that idol, meaning it goes to Genevieve, who survives the Blood Moon because she has an idol.
Would it transfer that quickly? Did it go in that order?
Charlie didn't go with the Blood Moon. That was the week before.
Oh, you're right. Oh, that's the dream. Oh,
yep.
I'm mad now.
Mm-hmm.
Frick Rizzo. You know what? I don't like Rizzo anymore.
I mean, again, at the time, I was like, look at this kid. He does have what it takes. He's doing this for a second time. But I think the fact that he's been quiet, like not playing a bad game, but like, I think that might have been a better scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I got. Anything else for this episode?
I don't think so. Just these last few could be real bad or real good.
I am personally ready to wrap it up. I hate to say it.
I went into this episode pretty excited about where we were at, and I just am like this end game is interesting to me. I know that I need to tell you, there's gonna be a twist this next episode, and you're not gonna like it, but I just need you to mentally prepare. There will be a twist.
I wish you could have seen my face. You'll have to text Lane again to ask her how pissed I was, because as soon as Jeff said twist, I checked out. I was like, I was ready to fast forward the episode and just get to the end of this. Like I'm telling you, I hate to be this dramatic, but like I have almost no interest of watching anymore. Like, I'm gonna finish it because like I have to complete it, but like this is not I don't look forward to it, which is so sad. Like
That could be our bit next week is you don't watch and then I have to explain the episode to you.
legitimately. I mean, like I would be fine if you just told me the results. Like it's not entertaining to me, and it makes me really sad because like I used to like this.
The amount of ways that I would work around saying the word twist to make you think that there was no twist.
Yeah. Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Stop watching.
Well, 2 more weeks, then I'll be good.
Gone forever.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, for more episodes, you know where to find us. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, at NGAP Pod. That's at NGAP Pod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony, and we will see you next week.
18 seasons, 2 pals, 1 podcast.